Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Officially half that work week in the rear view mirror, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Got some SEC baseball power rankings coming your way in 30 minutes. Koki Riley covers the Tiger baseball team, at least for the next couple of weeks. He joins us on Wednesdays, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Koki, how are you?
Doing all right. How's it going?
It's going well. Paint the picture in Athens for me. LSU came out swinging on Friday, and after that did not have a lot of success. What did it look like from in person to you?
It looked like batting practice.
Yeah.
It looked like Georgia knew. I wouldn't say Georgia knew what was coming, but like it felt like Georgia knew what was coming in terms of laying off the stuff that they weren't going to driving the ball at every opportunity that they could, and just LSU's inability to create deception and question marks within the hitters, in the back of the hitters' heads. Like there was just a total inability to take control of counts and seep any sort of doubt in the minds of Georgia hitters, and because of that, they just got absolutely teed off of. I mean, it was one team was playing on a different level of baseball than the other. Like it looked like LSU was a G5 might be kind, but it might be closer to D2 versus D1. Like it was not even competitive. So, yeah.
It's been like that on multiple weekends. I felt that way when A&M was at the box. I felt that way. Obviously, when Georgia and LSU were playing, and there were times where you felt like LSU had no prayer against Ole Miss, especially in Game 2. Like I realize I've asked you this before, but like, how stunning is that they just can't get anybody out at times?
It's pretty stunning, given that this team had one of the better pitching staffs in the country, and then brought back a lot of those guys. Granted, they lost the two best pitchers in that pitching staff, and Caden Anderson and Anthony Iverson. That changes the math dramatically, but. You went in the portal and you added a couple guys that at least had some promise and some stuff, and you brought back a couple guys from injury. So you just sort of figured that they were going to figure out something with this pitching staff, and that it wasn't going to be much worse than last year. Granted, they had more injuries after that, right? You lose Jason Evans for a couple of weeks, and then the week that he comes back, of course, when he's taking off the rust is against the best offense in the league, and then you lose Cooper Moore for the whole season. So like that, those are major things, and those are definitely parts of this. But that doesn't explain a 14.32 ERA over the course of a 3-game series. Like that can't happen against anybody in any ballpark in any situation. Just can't happen. And if they had a 70 ERA this weekend, I would have understood it. I'd have been like, you know what, makes sense. That's a great Georgia offense. You're still missing one of your starting pitchers. That ballpark is tiny. You're going to give up runs. Like this, it almost doesn't matter how good you are. You're going to give up runs in that situation. And to not even be competitive is just a really crushing fact for this team. And Jay Johnson talked a lot about today about like how if one guy would slip up, or if there was some sort of weakness that they had on this team, especially from the pitching side. Last year the other guys were able to pick up the slack. This year that has not been the case, and I think that's kind of a kind way of putting it with this pitching staff. But there's definitely that element too. Like the depth has not been there at all, and that's been glaringly clear this season.
How do you weigh the fact that they're going to lead the SEC in strikeouts in the regular season with this pitching staff that has gotten bashed around so heavily? Like, how do you weigh those two things together?
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers a little bit earlier, and they're going to lead the SEC in strikeouts. They have a pretty clear lead against everybody else, and it's not like Florida has this amazing offense. So the fact that it is a wild thing to say. But I think it shows that they have talent on this team. I think it shows that it's not like they recruited guys who were totally overblown in terms of the stuff that they have. The problem is that they need to raise the floor of this pitching staff. Like, they've always kind of flirted with these high ceiling, low floor guys for years now, and it's mostly worked for them. If we're looking at like a 3, even 4 year sample, really going back to when they added Wes Johnson and they brought in Paul Skeens, and they bring in these guys with really good stuff like Thatcher Hurd, and like those guys are not great. Those pitchers aren't great examples because they probably had higher floors. But it's the high stuff, low floor reliever. It's a guy like Connor Benj who might have trouble throwing strikes, but he's got a really good fastball. That sort of archetype of guy, instead of going for the Riley Coopers, Nate Ackenhausen. They've had a few of those guys, but they really have more leaned on the kind of the high variance, big stuff guys. Maverick Rizzi is kind of a perfect example of that. And this year, the floor just fell out, and you see that in the walks, you see that in hit by pitches. You see that in just the regression of a lot of different guys. That isn't the case with every single pitcher they have. Like Cooper Williams has gotten shelled in part because he's throwing the ball over the plate too much. Same kind of goes with Gavin Guidry. But I think, they lead the league in walks. They lead the league in wild pitches by a mile. And when you're just giving up free bases like that routinely, whether it's guys advancing first to second or second to third, or just putting guys on base, you're putting yourself more prone to when the hit comes or the homer comes to hurt you even more. And that's exactly what happened this season, because if you look at the hits and the homers, they haven't really given up that many hits. They haven't given up a ton of homers. They're like kind of middle of the league in those categories. So it's not like the contact hasn't been quite as bad as you think it is, or what it's felt like at times. And that goes for both in-conference stats and just the season as a whole. The problem has been the walks. The problem has been the hit by pitches. The problem has been just the self-inflicted wounds of a staff that clearly needs to raise the floor and get some more guys who can just get it over the plate and induce more weak contact. I'm not saying the strikeout isn't important. Strikeouts are good generally. They just need more floor raisers on this team.
Jay Johnson spoke today about Case and Evans' health and kind of about what the pitching plan may look like in some way this weekend. What did you glean from the head coach's press conference today?
Yeah, what I gleaned from is that they got to save one of these starters for Tuesday, and that's why they did not list the starting pitcher for tomorrow's game. My guess is that they're going to use both Evans and Schmidt. I don't think you want those guys not throwing for a week and a half before you get to the SEC tournament on Tuesday. So that's why I think they're going to kind of use those guys in tandem tomorrow. They did list starters for Friday and Saturday. Marcos Paz is throwing Friday. Zach Cowan's throwing Saturday. If they win on Tuesday and Wednesday, those guys would theoretically be available on Thursday and Friday, or Thursday and Saturday, depending on like how the bracket comes out. And because you do get a day off in there, even though you got to win, go 5-0 and 6
right.
At the tournament. So I think that's kind of what they're going to go for. And then I don't think you're going to see that much of Devin Sharon this weekend. I don't think you're going to see a ton of Grant Fontenot this weekend. They're going to pitch, but I don't think they're going to throw 4 innings, or that's not going to be like the South Carolina weekend where you're really leaning on those guys to finish off the game. So yeah, you got to save up your bullets for the SEC tournament, because Jay I think it was Cobble who asked Jay, do you see any path to make the NCAA tournament without winning the SEC tournament? And he said no. So, that kind of explains it all.
That would do it. Yeah, that's the quote I'm looking for. They're not being there. If he says they can't get in without winning it, then that would indicate that they're going to take it seriously to try to go win it, and that may be compromising this weekend. But they don't really care. Koki, we'll see you out the box this weekend. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
He's Koki Riley with the Advocates. You can read him in the newspaper. Follow him on Twitter at Koki Riley. That's telling, right? There's the quote. It's like I'm not there. Like, they have the press conference as I'm right about to sit down on air. So that makes things difficult for me the day of, and that's why I lean on guys like Glenn and Koki who can help me out with some of that stuff. But if Jay Johnson says on the record, on camera, can you get into the NCAA tournament without winning the SEC tournament? He says no. Again, I'm reading between the lines. I'm editorializing. I'm putting words in his mouth, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to commentate on press conference answers. If he says that, that means it doesn't matter if we get swept this weekend. The only thing that matters is how well we can do next weekend in Hoover. So that means Schmidt on a pitch count, Evans on a pitch count, Cowan on a pitch count, Sheeran on a pitch count, Fontenot on a pitch count. And look, you get down, that doesn't mean if they get up tomorrow, say they start Schmidt tomorrow, and they say they're going to hold him at 45 pitches, and he goes 45 pitches, and that gets you through 3 good innings. And then they go to, Santiago Garcia. And then they go and Fontenot gives them an inning. And then they've got a 2-run lead in the 8th. Like, yeah, you can go to Sheeran there. It's not like they're going to completely punt the weekend, but they're also going to be smart about it. They're going to go ahead and say, hey, these games are meaningless for our at-large purposes. We have to make a run in Hoover. So we're going to hold guys. And LSU's never in that position, and I hope they're not in it anytime soon. But that's the situation. And truth be told, like, if I'm Jay Johnson, and let's just take it, I'm not Jay Johnson. I'm Hunt Palmer, fan of LSU baseball who wants them to win. That's who I am. These are my thoughts. I would prefer my coach punt these 3 games against Florida and go try to win the SEC tournament. I would rather sacrifice winning a game or 2 games against Florida here to give myself the best chance next week. That's not to suggest I'm confident in their chances next week, okay? I'm not. I'm not confident in their chances. I'm not confident in their game on Tuesday, and I don't even know who they're going to play. But I'd like to give yourself the best chance. Because the whole reason to put the spikes on in February is to play in the NCAA tournament. And their only chance to do that is to win 5 games in Hoover. So I'm going to give myself a chance to do that. Shout out Gators. You can come in here and go nuts. But I don't care. 9 wins in the league, 8 wins in the league, 11 wins in the league, all the same. Got to go to Hoover. So I think you're going to see LSU loaded up and ready to go there. They may lose their first game, may get run ruled, but they're going to try. So we'll see. All right, we're moving right along here. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We got a lot of LSU baseball to talk about. We're going to get to some SEC baseball power rankings as well. I've got some stuff on LouisianaSports.net too with LSU basketball and what they're looking for. So we'll hit a grab bag of topics here in our next segment. Come back with us, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, safety is a big deal in the bathroom, especially as folks age. And you can't take that risk away. But what you can do is mitigate it. And David and his team do this kind of stuff all the time. So call them and say, hey, got an aging relative. Would love to look into non-slip floors. Would love to look into guardrails at slippery places or walk-in tubs. Would love to look at a shower with a bench in it. All these things can mitigate that risk, can be more comfortable, can be safer for people as they age. And David and his team do it all the time. It might not be something you immediately know who to turn to for that kind of stuff. You certainly don't want to be in charge of trying to put in a walk-in tub. Don't pay the handy guy down the street cash and see what he can do. Call the team that's been doing it for 30 years. It's David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets. Check them out online at onebathandclosets.com. You can get a consultation there. You can get reviews of their satisfied customers, see pictures of the great work. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
For those just jumping in the vehicle that may have missed our conversation with Dr. Jeremy Burnham in hour number 1, I want to remind especially parents that cost-free physicals coming up this weekend at Ochsner. Talking about Saturday, looking at 8 a.m. to noon over at Elite. If you're looking for a physical for sports that are coming up, you can make that happen at Auctioner over at Elite on Burbank. Just come with an adult, come with that permission slip signed, and you'll get that sports physical for your middle school athletes heading to high school or your high school athlete. If they're looking into an activity, it's going to require that in the next school year. This is an incredible opportunity. Auctioner does such an amazing job of impacting the community in so many different ways, and this is just one of the ways. So if you can get by Elite on Burbank coming up this Saturday, they certainly would welcome you there to get that physical taken care of, courtesy of the folks over at Auctioner. So certainly appreciate them for being part of our shows every other Wednesday and for making things like this happen for our community. All right, let's talk about a couple of different things here with LSU. I wrote about Stephen Milam today for LouisianaSports.net, and it's a talking point that really doesn't need to be belabored right now. Unfortunately, I'm not going to preview Florida's pitching staff in this segment. Talked about stuff like this all week. That's where my head usually would be. It's not at this point. But Milam has had a really, really good year for LSU. Defensively, you understand how great he's been. He's made 2 errors in 193 chances. 2 errors in 193 chances. And the thing that's amazing about that is because you've watched this guy play, you know that we're not talking about just the routine plays here. We're talking about making backhand stabs in the hole, ranging up the middle, picking balls up on the run, trying to turn double plays, dealing with multiple different second basemen, many of whom have had their issues at second base. And he's just been rock solid all season long defensively, and I've called him the best defensive shortstop in the history of LSU baseball and have not gotten a lot of pushback on that. I've heard Charles Handigrove say it. I've heard Ronnie Rance say it. I've never seen anybody better than Stephen Milam defensively at shortstop. He's been incredible, and he's hitting 288 on the season, which is probably a tick down from what I thought he would hit. He finished the season on an absolute tear last year and ended up 295. Y'all remember he went nuts in the regional, nuts in the super, nuts in Omaha. He went berserk, and that was after a bad SEC season where he hit 211. And so I thought, okay, I watched him as a freshman. I saw him in June of last year. Surely that's going to be the guy we see this year. He'll hit 320. He'll hit 11, 13 home runs. He'll be a second-team All-SEC second shortstop. He'll put it together. And he really didn't early on offensively. Some of it was not his fault. His exit velocities were very good, but he was coming up empty with a lot of his swings. And he's rebounded from that to post solid numbers. He's hitting 287 in SEC play this year. Keep in mind, on the 2023 national title team, that team had 2 guys that hit over 287 in SEC play. Dylan Cruz and Tommy White. That's it. Not Trey Morgan, not Braden Jobert, not Cade Beloso, not Gavin Dugas. None of those guys hit over 300 in league play. None of them hit over 287 in league play. That's a solid number in league play. When you see guys generally that hit 325, they hit 280 in SEC play, and they crush the February pitching and the Tuesday pitching to the tune of 358, and that's how they get their average. And look, everybody's doing the same thing, so I'm not disparaging that, but I'm telling you, Stephen Milam's SEC play batting average has been fantastic. I went through the numbers on LouisianaSports.net. He's reached base 49 times in 27 league games. He's got 10 extra base hits. So when you couple that performance with his defense, he's been great. And so the question I always get is he going to come back? And I've talked about it a couple times, and we'll talk about it a couple times more. The truth is, we won't know until July. It's May. But that's the content dearth that is staring us right between the eyes 7 or 8 days from now, where we won't have a game until Clemson shows up. So it becomes, all right, portal, MLB draft, what are we talking about? And we'll come up with the content, but I'm just telling you that this decision is a long way away. And I wrote this. Perfect Game had a March draft board they put out, and Stephen Milam is 70th on that. ESPN did a top 85 in April, and Milam didn't make it. And MLB.com had a top 150 they just did, and he didn't make that either. Now, these are not exact, and every team has their own decision to make. But if you're out of the top 50 in the draft, which Perfect Game's got him at 70th, ESPN's got him 85th, and MLB.com's got him in 150. You're outside of that, you're looking at 475K, 425K, 325K, and obviously as the slots go down, it decreases. And so if Stephen Milam wants to start his professional career for 325K, great. I'm telling you that baseball players don't make Sam Levitt money. Baseball players don't make Jordan Seaton money. Baseball players don't make high-end college basketball money. Kentucky's basketball roster costs $22 million. LSU's baseball roster next year ain't getting $22 million. So while there is money available at LSU, it's not a ton from the rev share, and the NIL is marginal. It's not massive. It's not making you rich. And if Stephen Milam comes back for a senior year, I was looking through the numbers today. And I was looking at what guys signed for. And the days of going in the fourth round or going in the sixth round and getting $8,000 are pretty much over. That's not happening. But I saw numerous instances of fifth, sixth round picks whose slot was $325K, who signed for $175K. So you lost $100 some odd grand off your slot value because you didn't have any leverage as a senior. That's what he's risking coming back for another year. So you weigh the dollars and cents. You weigh minor league lifestyle versus LSU lifestyle. You weigh college versus no school. You weigh your recruiting class on the way out. I mean, this is a guy that played with Jake Brown for 3 years. This is a guy that played with a lot of guys for 3 years, and they're all kind of moving on. He was on the field with Jared Jones for a couple of years. He was on the field with Chris Stanfield for a couple of years. Like, those guys, Derek Curiel's moving on. And it's a change of scenery. So I don't know the answer as to whether or not Stephen Milam is going to come back. What I will tell you is this. If you just look at it reasonably, it's very likely he does not. I didn't say impossible. It's impossible for Derek Curiel to come back. That's not happening. It's possible for Stephen Milam to come back. I will leave that door open. But if you try, as an LSU fan, to paint me that picture of, oh, well, he's definitely should come back, you're being biased. You're tossing six figures in the trash can. You're not considering the fact that he has done this for 3 years, that he's been through school. You're not considering the fact that a lot of his friends are moving on. Like, there's a lot that would suggest he's going to leave. And Jay Johnson has been pretty candid with the media for like 5 months. And when he was asked if Stephen Milam was going to be potentially back next year 2 weeks ago, he essentially said, and I'm very much paraphrasing, like, yeah, I'm not the GM of the Devil Rays, but I would take Stephen Milam early in the draft. I'm a huge Stephen Milam fan. And he didn't say something he could have said, which was like, well, we'll have those discussions. I know Stephen really loves it here, and I know that he's sincere about a degree, or that his mom said he needed to do this, or that there's work he needs to do offensively. Like, he could have said something to the effect. He just basically said, I'm a huge Stephen Milam fan, and I can't imagine they won't draft him. That's fairly telling as well. Trust me, I would love to have Stephen Milam back at shortstop next year for LSU. Would love it. A glove like that, switch hitter, pencil him in for 290, pencil him in for 8, 10, 12 homers. Don't make any errors. Absolutely. I'll let Stephen Milam play shortstop for this team Forever and ever, amen. I realize there have been guys that have been more productive than him, but that's as rock solid at that position as you could want. He hits lefties. He hits righties. He hits with some pop. He runs the bases. He plays great defense. Absolutely. But I don't think he's going to be back. That's my read on the situation. But we'll see. That's, again, an uninformed, in terms of firsthand knowledge, take by me. Just telling you what I think. 30 minutes left to go. We'll do power rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Those summer road trips are a-coming. Got some kiddos at finals this week at LSU. Got high schools wrapping up shortly. Seniors are saying their goodbyes. That means road trips are coming, whether it's a vacation or you're getting that graduate a new vehicle. Fabry Chevrolet GMC is happy to help you with that. They got an incredible inventory, and you can see the entire inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com. Whether you're looking for an SUV, a truck, a sedan, new, pre-owned, it's all there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. And when you go to Fabry Chevrolet GMC, you'll know you're dealing with the Fabry family that's got a reputation built on 35 years of incredible customer service in this town. And you'll experience that firsthand when you go see them. They're on St. Francisville, Highway 61. And the entire inventory is online. Check them out at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Safe to say it's officially pool season, right? It's hot, sun's out, school's about to be done. Get in that pool. If you don't have one, that's on you. Because I've been telling you to contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, at Renaissance Homes and Pools. There's still time. It's warm around here till October. If you want to get that pool this year, you can do it. Text Joey, 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Text Joey, say, hey, I want a pool. He'll call you back. Let's start. He's happy to help you out with that. They can do big jumbo pools with all the bells and whistles. They can do cocktail pools. They can do pools designed for your grandkids. They can do pools designed for a young couple. Doesn't matter what stage of life you're in or what pool you're looking for. They can do it at Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Outdoor kitchens are something that Joey takes a lot of pride in as well. So if you're looking for that outdoor entertaining space that you haven't really ever had, and now it's time to get rolling, contact Joey at Renaissance Homes and Pools. It's 225-252-7745. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Builtbyrenaissance.com. I got to say this before we start. I did really well this year with my SC Baseball Power Rankings. We're going to get into them one final time next week and go back to my week one. And those might not be great, but I got the hang of this thing about 4 weeks ago. I haven't moved almost anybody in a month. And that means I nailed it and I'm right. Obviously, correct? There's nobody here to tell me no. So let's just do it again.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Woo, y'all saw them last week. I missed. I had them at 2 for a while, and I missed early because they didn't play anybody. That's not my fault. That's Wes Johnson's fault. How am I supposed to know if you're good and you beat a bunch of teams I never heard of in January? I don't know. Okay, but I moved them 3 weeks ago, and they look like the best team. I didn't love Volchko. LSU attacked him pretty good there in the first inning, but Big U looked really good. And that offense, Daniel Jackson's a freak. And that bat, I just don't see anyone stopping them in Athens this year. It's happened a couple years in a row. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think they'll be in Omaha. They'll be beholden to the park at that point, but they're the best team in the league right now.
The Texas Longhorns.
I still believe in Texas. They're 16-10. I think that they get a series win this weekend. They'll be an easy top 8, and I think they're a good bet to get to Omaha. They've leaked a little bit of oil of late, but I still think they're complete. I think they're a good team.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn had a hell of a series win in Starkville. That's really, really good stuff. They're 16-11. They're going to be a top 8 national seed. Butch Thompson's done an awesome job. They've got a fantastic ace top of that rotation, and now the offense is starting to hum a little bit. They just wore out Mississippi State pitching in Game 3 of that series in Starkville, so they're playing well at the right time.
Texas A&M.
Aggies have some issues right now because Sims, I thought, was their only real starting pitcher when I watched him in Baton Rouge, and now he's going to miss this weekend with some arm tenderness. That lineup is legit, no question about it. I think that you got Grahovic that's having an all-SEC type of season. Caden Sorrell's a top 10 pick. So is Koki, and they're good, but they need more pitching. I'm concerned about Aggies in the postseason.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Rebs get a huge series win over Texas A&M. They're 14-13, but I think they're in decent shape to host if they can win one more weekend series. They may be okay just getting to 15-15 and being a host site. I think the Rebs are in a pretty good spot, and I think they're a pretty good team. I've had them above Mississippi State for weeks now. Everybody's told me I'm a nut. I don't think I am. I think Ole Miss is better than Mississippi State.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
But Mississippi State swept them in Oxford. Mississippi State beat them in the Governor's Cup. Mississippi State's way better than Ole Miss. Oh, really? Well, they got annihilated by Auburn in Game 3, lost that series. They've lost 3 home series. They got swept twice at home. I like this Mississippi State team. I think it's good. I watched with my own eyes twice, and their lineup's really good. I like Valinkas. I think they need a little bit more out of the bullpen. They're good. They're going to host a regional, I think, but I think Ole Miss is better.
The Florida Gators.
Gators come to Baton Rouge 15-12 with 2 of the top pitchers in the Southeastern Conference. You'll see them, I believe, on Thursday and Friday, but I'll check when Kevin O'Sullivan releases it. They also got the potential number 1 pick in next year's draft. Swinging the stick, he's a stud. Talented team. They need to win a couple of games here in Baton Rouge to feel good about things. They'll be coming in motivated.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hogs beat Oklahoma 2 out of 3 last week. They're 15-12. RPI is not awesome, and they had some ugly losses, but I think they're good to be a host if they can win one more game in this weekend.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Huge Tennessee series win over Texas to get them to 13-14. Josh Elander's team went undefeated in the midweek, so that's a hat tip to them. They'll get into the field. They're not going to be a host, but I think they will get into the field, and we'll see what they can do from the road.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama goes ahead and sweeps South Carolina. They now are 16-11, and they're going to host a regional in Tuscaloosa. I don't think they're that good, but they're going to host a regional. We'll see if they get out of it.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
I don't think Oklahoma's that good. I moved them up one spot. They're 13-14 in the league. I think they got to win one more to get into the field. Cam Johnson's going to start in tomorrow's game, but I've not had a lot of confidence in Oklahoma. Did not know they weren't very good when they got to Baton Rouge. That should have been one of the big warning symbols. LSU couldn't take care of a mediocre Oklahoma team, and they're 11th at this point in my power rankings, up one spot.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy's terrible, and LSU went there and lost 2 out of 3 in the first weekend of Southeastern Conference play. Doors just lost the series to Missouri. They're 11-16. They will not make the tournament. So if you're keeping score at home, LSU, the national champion last year, not going to make the tournament. Vanderbilt, the overall number 1 national seed last year, not going to make the tournament.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky is not very good either. They're 12-15. They canceled a game last night just so they wouldn't lose an opportunity to make the NCAA tournament had they lost it against Northern Kentucky. No power for that team. Not a lot of talent in the pitching staff after Jelkin, the ace. I don't think it's a very good team, and I've got them at 13.
The LSU Tigers.
Sadly, that's where they're going to finish. I think LSU is significantly better than South Carolina and significantly better than Missouri, so they're there at number 14, but they're no better than 14.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Gamecocks, I saw too much at the box 2 weeks ago. I don't care what they did last week. I saw too much at the box 2 weeks ago. They're awful on offense, and they're 15th.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou beat Vanderbilt in the series, but they still didn't move up. Mizzou, I kind of saved a spot there at the bottom for you, and you were out of it for a while, and then you got swept by South Carolina, and then there's nothing I can do to help you at that point. That's it for SEC Power Rankings. Georgia, Texas, Auburn, A&M, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ole Miss, State, and Florida, 5, 6, 7. Arkansas is at 8. Those are the teams with a real chance to host a regional 2 weeks from now. Tennessee's at 9. They're going to get into the NCAA tournament. Bama is going to host as well. They're at number 10 there. Oklahoma's 11. Vanderbilt is 12. Kentucky at 13. LSU 14. South Carolina 15. And the Missouri Tigers coming in dead last at 16th. So next week, won't do power rankings. Next week, we will take a look at my initial power rankings after I think I did it after 1 week of play. It might have been 2 weeks of play. But we'll take a look back at my initial ones and see how good I did or how poorly I did. I think I had LSU at 2. So that's not good. we'll see how the rest of it went when we do this next Wednesday. All right, let's come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carver and his team are phenomenal folks to work with. One of the things that it's important to remember is that storm season is coming, and you need to get your ducks in a row before it happens. In this part of the world, we've had a couple of quiet summers. That's awesome. I hope we got 10 more in a row coming. But we all know that that's unlikely. So having your property policy ready to respond to a storm is vitally important. How did you get your building valuations on that policy? What's your deductible as compared to your risk appetite? Are you prepared to pay that chunk if your building is damaged? What about business interruption? If you can't function based on a storm that blows through, your operation can't work, do you have coverage for that? Are there co-insurance penalties you may incur? These are all questions that a lot of business owners don't know for sure, but they do know what they pay in insurance every month. Make sure your policy is ready to respond. The Hour2 Insurance Group has dozens of carriers. They know property in this part of the world because they're right here in Baton Rouge, and they can help you get the right coverage for storm season. Don't take a look at your policy when a storm shows up in the Gulf. You can't change anything. Do it now. Contact the Hour2 Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Tomorrow's show, we'll have a lot to get to. Luke Johnson will be here. There will be leaks about the Saints' schedule throughout the day tomorrow, and they'll announce it in the evening. I gave my thoughts on it earlier on the show today, but we'll talk to Luke about it coming up on tomorrow's show. We'll also have Joe Healy on. He'll preview the final weekend of SEC baseball, and then we'll chat with Chris Blair as well before he's on the call for LSU in Florida. Starting tomorrow, remember every single team in the Southeastern Conference, every weekend series, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week as the teams get prepared for Hoover. As we talked about earlier in the show today, not a lot on the bone here for LSU in the final weekend against Florida. Had they held a lead against Vanderbilt in the conference opener, had they held a lead in Starkville or maybe two leads in Starkville, had they been able to get to the finish line against Georgia, perhaps you could be talking about a team that would have something to play for this weekend. But Jay Johnson said it in his press conference today, like, is there any chance you could get to the NCAA tournament without winning the SEC tournament? No. So going to be a weird weekend here in Baton Rouge where LSU certainly goes out there and plays hard against Florida, but will not deploy the normal repertoire of pitching to try to save them for Hoover, to try to go win some games there and see if you can't get to Sunday and make things interesting. So, That's tomorrow's show in a nutshell. Saints schedule, SEC baseball preview, and then Chris Blair on the Tigers. We'll talk Tigers and Gators as well on tomorrow's show. And then we're going to enter a weird time in our calendar here where we're usually just fired up and rip-roaring with postseason baseball, and that's not going to be the case. So we'll keep things spicy. They're talking about a lot of things at the college football playoff expansion, television talks. The ACC had their spring meetings this week. The SEC will have its spring meetings in 2 weeks, and that'll certainly be of interest to a lot of people, as the SEC is kind of the last one on the block who's resisting in a way the expansion from 12 to 24 with the playoff. The SEC kind of likes its conference championship game because it's a cash cow. So we'll keep things rolling here, but it just won't feel the same as most years generally do, and that's unfortunate. But that's the way the die have been cast this year. The way the die are cast today, as we finish things out with take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so NFL legend J.J. Watt has some, I guess you could say, some choice words about the NFL and their current international schedule. So after the league announced today the 9 matches that will be played outside of the United States during the 2026 season, Watt posted on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, the international game slate is nearing the realm of a traveling circus as opposed to a showcase. So is the NFL becoming too international? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's for me. But it just doesn't matter. It comes down to the same thing we talk about with everything.
Money.
It just comes down to money. And Goodell's job is to make money in the international games, take the brand globally, and they create different television windows.
Yeah.
And all of that makes money. And so that's his only job. His job is not to take care of the players. His job is not to cultivate the most competitive league.
Nope.
His job is not to do any of that. It's to make money for the owners. And that's what international games do. I think the travel is ridiculous. I think taking home games away from the home fans
Saints
is ridiculous. I think I don't like any of it. I don't think they ought to be playing in Berlin or Paris or any of that. And it creates a cool opportunity for fans to go over there. I got to check the calendar. I'm going to be close to the Saints I'm going for the bye week. My wife and I are going for a 5-year anniversary trip to Europe, and one of the stops is Paris, and we're going to be there either the week before or the week after.
Ooh.
I'll see some Saints fans while I'm there. I'm confident.
October 25th.
Look, whatever. Europe's a great place to travel. I just you got to play the home games in the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to feel differently about that. I'm not in charge of making the owners money. I'm in charge of what I like and what I think is reasonable, and I don't like this.
Most definitely. It's just getting too much. We're talking 9 games now. I remember where it used to just be the Jaguars. Maybe they play the Jaguars and the Jets.
Yeah, and look, if you're a diehard NFL fan that watches every game, and you just love the fact that you turn up on Sunday, and at 9 a.m. you've got Jets Chiefs from Berlin, and that's awesome to you. Great. I'm not with you.
Yeah. I'm off it too. So Kyle Riley ended his 0-38 hitless streak last night versus the Houston Astros after taking advice from pitcher Logan Gilbert on Monday to wash off the bad mojo, prompting Riley to take a shower in his full uniform after the game on Monday. So washing off the bad mojo, take it or leave it.
Take it. You got to do something. Look, when LSU was fighting it in baseball season this year, one game I went in, it was A&M series, I called it. Drove into the game, called it, we lost. Next day, I drove a different way to the ballpark.
Okay.
I wore my 2023 National Championship hat. I backed into my parking space. I wore a rally hat during the game.
Yeah.
You got to try some stuff.
Yeah.
None of it worked unless you got swept. But, hey, I gave it a shot. Cal Raleigh's giving it a shot. He got a hit. You got to do something.
You're right. And it's crazy because this guy was MVP
he had
talks
60 home runs last year.
0-38. From 60 home runs to 0-38.
Baseball's hard. In no other sport do you see Reggie Miller go 0 for 61 from 3. You never see Tom Brady go 4 for 38 in a game.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just in no other sport can one of the best in the world show up and look completely inept for 5, 8, 10 games. It just no other sport it happens, but it sure did.
Nah, that is crazy because people be like, all right, they need to bench Tom Brady or something like that.
Shaving points.
Yes, he's gambling. So Grillo's Pickles and Smoothie King are launching a limited edition pickle smoothie. The smoothie blends Grillo's pickles with bananas, organic kale, and coconut water. Available on May 16th, International Pickle Day. Smoothie King is offering a free 4-ounce pickle smoothie to in-store guests while supplies last. So pickle smoothies, take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it alone.
No pickles.
No
Don't
pickle
do
smoothies?
pickles. No pickles ever.
Oh, at all?
No pickles ever.
Okay. I used to be that way. I just...
No pickles.
It took me to become 26-year-old.
I've never, when I'm here and I order a burger, no pickles,
Take the
I don't
pickles
care.
off?
That's fine. I've never, been so uncomfortable. My wife and I honeymooned in Miami. It was during COVID. We couldn't really go international, so we went to Miami, which was incredible. I loved it. And I went to this, authentic Cuban diner, and I got a Cuban sandwich, and I had to be like, no pickles.
Oh, man.
No pickles,
I know these are crazy.
I don't even remember I think the waitress was fine. She probably didn't care what I had to say, but I was terrified. Somebody was going to be like, what?
Yeah, I know.
I don't want, one of the places in America that I want to go eat is Katz Deli in New York.
Okay.
And every sandwich they have has Dijon mustard on it. And I enjoy Dijon mustard. It's fine.
Okay.
I want mayonnaise on my sandwich, and I know that I can't get it there because apparently they freak out. So I can't do it there. But there's an intimidation factor with altering menu items, and probably there's a bunch of people that are listening going, well, then don't alter it. All that stuff's delicious, and you're a dork. Grow up. You're not in first grade anymore. Eat the stuff. But I don't like pickles, and I like mayonnaise on my sandwich, and I just sometimes need to do some substituting.
So we're all the way out. Any type of pickle, no pickles.
No pickled onions, no pickled nothing.
Ooh.
Some of Alyssa's close friends are big on pickling things. They think it's really. I can't do pickling things. I don't need to soak stuff in vinegar and eat it.
Yeah, like the pickle. Nah. I didn't see pickled lips and all this. No.
Fried
lips,
pickles,
no.
don't want them. Y'all can have it. I'll take the cheese fries. Thank you very much.
Trust me, my mom might bite your fingers off to get them fried pickles like that. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Wednesday. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check them out online. BuiltByRenaissance.com. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Open with the Saints schedule. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on what I would like to see from the Saints schedule, you can check that out at Hunt on Saints. Also talk to Koki Riley on LSU baseball. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. We're back tomorrow. See you.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Really cool promotional idea that we've got here for Swing Easy. If you play a little bit of golf and it sounds interesting to get into a virtual golf league at Swing Easy coming up this summer, and you'd like to join in a 2-on-2 scramble league that they're going to hold weekly at Swing Easy, you can get into this league, but you got to win your way in through us if you want to get in. So, go to Swing Easy and go to our text line, 225-499-1045. 225-499-1045, and just put Swing Easy in. We're going to pick 2 winners over the course of the next 2 weeks, and those 2 winners will grab a teammate, play 2-on-2 scramble mode at Swing Easy. Winning team gets into the league. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait to see what happens, but go to our text line, 225-499-1045, and text us Swing Easy. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.